Hey everybody, and welcome back to UMRV. We've moved ahead to day 13 or day 12, morning of day 12, and we got to do a little maintenance on our Colossus here. I was just noticing the clock down there. We're at 28.3 hours. We need to do ourselves a little bit of maintenance. So we're going to pull up here to this shed, and there it is. Saying there should be a repair kit in here. I'm not getting the grabby. Why am I not getting the grabby grabs? Lights on in here. Strange. Well, we'll just pull on in. Hope we can pull in here with the duels. Oh yeah, we can fit in here. Alright, so let's try hit Alt R. Oh, we don't open the door. There we go. We want to repair. Oh my gosh! How much do you think it's going to cost to repair this Colossus?
I don't know, 40 grand?
Oh, thank goodness it's not 40 grand. It's $5,600.
It's nothing.
Oh, when it's only got 30 engine hours, that's a heck of a lot. It's probably those foreign parts that gotta get shipped in. Hey Anthony, how are you doing? Alright, I'm on my way back. Hey Chad, how are you doing? That repair made me think about the when I repaired all the stuff on Midtown. The Harvester was some insane repair cost compared to everything else. It was like 3 or 4 times as expensive. You were in that one, so that's the one I thought that was full. Hey, Farmall's Forever. I'm worried what these harvesters are going to cost to repair. Alright, I skipped a row. So what's going on, everybody? Oh, he forgot to drop his thing again. Yeah, you're late, buddy. How you doing, cows go moo? I think the sun's starting to come up. Looked like it was getting a little brighter. Not really sure when the sun comes up here in mid-autumn. Oh, there we go. We got some light. No sun yet, but we got some light on the subject. Oh man, you're becoming a mod hoarder, aren't you? But we're still here on field 34, just chipping away at it. Not really sure what Spectre's doing down there. Yeah, that's right. It's good to have them on hand. In fact, I'm getting ready to use a mod, I think, on Midtown that I've downloaded and never really used. I probably downloaded it, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and just never had the opportunity or the need to use it. Of course, with FS19 coming right around the bend, we got ourselves a whole new, we'll start being able to collect a whole new set of mods. I remember with 17, it took a fair amount of time. We're up to 11.
Awesome.
I remember Cows Go Moo's got his mod collection up to 70, but he's refraining himself because he knows that 19's coming out soon, and they'll just be collecting a whole bunch more mods. Then other folks are looking forward to a nice, quiet Friday evening after a busy day of work.
Ditto that.
My work day ended on Wednesday. I didn't realize it would, but that was when my work week was done. Because Wednesday night, the youngest Wife came in and she's like, he's got a fever 103. What? He was fine when he went to church. Now he's got a fever 103. So we kept him home Thursday, and I took him to the doctor. And she insisted that they check for the flu, even though he didn't really have any signs of it. The doctor checked for strep, checked for flu, and he came back positive for the flu with like zero real symptoms beyond the fever. So kept him home today too. But before we tested, the doctor was like, if he's got the flu, he's one of the most resilient kids I've seen with the flu, because he was just playing and running around the you know, the little room that they put you in before the doctor shows up.
He's 4?
Yeah. Yeah. He had a rather embarrassing issue earlier in the week at daycare where he had a let's just say he had a blowout during recess, but that was his only. He only had that once. But for the last couple of weeks, he's had occasional days of mild temperatures, but nothing really high until that other night. Hey, country girl, how you doing? Andrew, if you've got a mod checked, then it will load it into memory. Depending on how much memory you have in the system, theoretically it could affect performance.
You love them, don't you?
So let's say you had 150 mods checked, and you were only using like 4 or 5 in the game. Well, the game loads all of those mods up into memory when it loads the map. So, like, if you pull up Task Manager and you load the map up with all those mods, you'll see how much memory it's taking. And then if you uncheck the mods you're not actually using and load them up, and load up the game, you're going to see it's going to take a whole lot less memory than it did before. So, it can affect performance depending on the amount of memory you have. When I get to the end of the row here, I'm going to pull up my Task Manager and just give you a frame of reference of what's going on. So, my system, for example, is right now I've got the game itself is taking 3.6 gigs of memory.
Mods not so, like, you know how they put it in.
What's that?
I was just going to say, you know when Giant released one of the patches to select your mods, it disabled the map. So say for instance, I've got a map in that folder, does it still load that map into memory?
I don't think it loads it into memory, but it definitely reads it. If you look at the top of your, if you look at the very top of your log, right after it shows the giant engine and your system specs and all of that, it will basically list a line and it'll say load mod, and it will have basically every mod in your mods folder listed, including the multiple maps. But it doesn't actually, I don't think it actually puts them into memory.
Okay.
But like right now I've got 3.6 gigs of system memory tied up in the game.
Yeah.
I don't have something else that I can compare it to. I can't exactly close the game out and boot it up normal.
Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
And every map, you know, is a little bit bigger, and this map is pretty darn big as far as file size. But I've got 16 gigs of memory in my system, so you know, 4 gigs being used up for the game is pretty much nothing. But if you have 4 gigs total for your system, then I could see where this would really bog you down, because pretty much everything would be tied up in the game.
So I know that you did a video on the 16X map. How was that map on your system? Because I know you're running. Did I hear that you're running an i5?
I didn't feel any performance problems. I don't know if I mentioned anything in the video about performance problems, but I don't recall anything. I mean, there might have been some frame issues here and there around the main farm, maybe, but nothing drastic.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm asking is when I get my new computer, probably next week sometime, I'm just wondering, should I have a separate folder?
I'm not going to be able to take all of this. I'll have to come back and get you again.
So what I was going to say is, if what I'm thinking of is, if I want to play a 16X map, just having the mods though, like the road train tag, the mods that I'll actually use on that map, and just keep my system as bare bones as it can be, if you know what I mean by that.
That's what I do. I used to not do it, and I mean, if you watch some of my, well, probably if you go back just a few months and watch some of the map videos, you'll see I got to scroll through a whole bunch of stuff to find certain things. And like I named the gator, I started the gator with 3 A's just so it would be always at the top. But then at some point I decided I was just going to make, well, when I started getting into multiplayer regularly, I made a folder for each multiplayer server I was in, and I put the multiplayer mods in there. And then when I switched over to the multiplayer server, I just renamed the folders and booted the game up, and I just had all the mods. And then I decided, probably with maybe when I started in Midtown, I started I've got a dedicated Midtown mods folder where it's only Midtown mods. So if I want to add a new mod, I just drag it into that one. Now it does mean that I have, like right now, I got a churn mods folder, a Midtown, a Rafflin, which is what I'm going to start next. I've got UMRV. I've got Skeleton. You know, I've got like 5 or 6 mod folders, and I definitely have mods. Yeah, I got the Creek one. So, you know, I've got I could have 5 or 6 copies of the same mod just stuck in different folders. But I've got plenty of disk space, so it doesn't really matter to me.
So, what's your opinion on the mod folder switches, like the ones from DJNet and other mod folder switches? Do you think that, in your opinion, this is your opinion, do you think they're useful, or do you prefer the way that you would do it, where you would rename the folder by?
I've never used them, so I don't have enough information to really base an opinion, other than that I don't know what else they bring to the table other than simply renaming the folders for you.
Yeah.
You know, it may be they bring other things to the table. It may be some people aren't as savvy in file and folder management.
Yeah.
So having something that does it for you is a benefit. For me, it's a simple, you know, pick the folder, right-click, change it to. I'll take the mods folder, right-click, and you know, add the name that I know it was. Like when I was switching over for this one tonight, I had my mods folder. I renamed it Midtown_mods. Then I grabbed the UMRV_mods and renamed it to just mods, and then booted the game up, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's just as simple as clicking or doing whatever you do in one of those apps. But I've never used one, so I don't really know how useful it is.
Yeah.
Oh, when we passed, did you move out of the way? Because I was locked. I just went straight.
I'm guessing you'll be glad to see the back of this map, fine.
What?
I said I'm guessing you'll be glad to see the back of this map.
No, I'm not. Not really the map hasn't worn off. I still enjoy being on the map. It's just right now. It's just, you know, early on it was the grind of field prep, then it was the grind of planting, and now it's the grind of harvest.
Yeah.
And then Skeleton we're in harvest, and Midtown I'm in harvest. I mean, everything I play, I feel like I'm in harvest. So, you know, from that respect, I'm really looking forward to getting into Rathlin because there's not going to be a harvest for a very long time.
Damn you cows, damn you. Send me the rum.
What?
Cows go and moose got rum in the fridge.
Yeah, you could do with some more memory. Cows go moo.
Well, as I was saying to Klein and as I was saying to as I was saying to Farmer Klein before the stream, if you are going to get a new computer or a better computer, you're best to start looking and saving now because graphics cards are going to be increasing in price over the next year from what I was reading today from someone on Rubber Burner's server.
Yeah, basically the gist is Bitcoin and other cyber currencies, or what they call cryptocurrencies, virtual currencies, if you will. People have basically written programs that basically crunch numbers and make Bitcoin currency and make other online type currency using graphics cards because of the GPUs in them are really good at number crunching, and they far outperform even the fastest CPUs in those operations.
Yeah.
So all of these cryptocurrency farms are basically buying up, you know, all of the graphics cards that they can in order to put them in these systems to just mine for this new form of money, if you will. So obviously with a big demand you get lower supply, and as a result prices climb, and then theoretically eventually things reach an equilibrium, but it's not so good for the consumer.
Yeah. And as an IT person, you must realize that this will push up your prices for, say, your systems at your wherever you work. Yeah, they say where, but it will push up the price of your computers.
Maybe not. We're not buying dedicated graphics cards for the enterprise-owned systems. We're just using embedded Intel graphics, which are not so great at cryptocurrency calculations.
Yeah.
I have heard that memory prices are kind of climbing. But cows, to give you a little bit of a comparative, my system specs, I've got an i5 6600K, which was running 3.5 gigahertz, but can clock up to 3.9. And I've got 16 gigs of DDR4 memory. Let me check something real quick. So right now I've got, I do now.
We can now.
No.
Didn't hear you earlier. I got 16 gigs of memory.
I'm getting very angry at my headphones.
We couldn't hear you before, but we can hear you now, speaker.
Right now I'm using about 8 gigs of memory.
I'm having headphone issues. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My main hard drive is a M2 solid state disk that's on the main board. So the system boots up in about, I don't know, 10 seconds. And then the graphics is a GTX 960 NVIDIA. It's a little, it's probably mid-range. It's not super high-end.
Yeah.
I think your computer has the same specs as mine. It sure sounds like it.
See, we're not hitting anymore. Are you moving out of the way?
I didn't that time.
Alright. This is 12.2.
So, what are the advantages of M2 versus solid drive? I mean, not solid drives, SSDs.
Well, it's so your traditional hard drive, either spindle drive, meaning, you know, it's a platter and read heads, or solid state, connects to the main board using a SATA connector.
Yeah.
And the SATA connector has a throughput of something like 6 gigabits per second or something like that. Well, the M2 basically is, in layman's terms, it's the same as an SSD. You know, it's solid state chips, except it's on a little card that looks like a little memory card, memory module. And it plugs straight into the system board. So what you get is you're basically plugged straight into a significant, you're plugging into the memory bus, if you will. So your throughput out of the drive isn't limited to 6 gigabits per second. So you could read and write significantly faster if your drive permitted than the fastest solid state SATA drives, because the fastest solid state SATA drives can read and write faster than the SATA bus will permit. So you're limited by your SATA bus at that point.
So would you recommend a solid state drive, or would you recommend a M2 or?
For ultimate performance, if your system will take an M2 drive, an M2 drive.
Yeah.
I mean, my system boots and it takes longer to get out of BIOS. You know, when you turn it on and you get the little Asus screen, and then you see Windows loading, and then you blink, and then you're like, hit the Windows login.
Yeah. Sorry, cows. We lost cows.
No. That's what happens when you start talking nerd talk. Are you full? Go. Alright, let me get to you and then I'll bring the thing over because I'll be full too.
You need fuel, Klein?
Oh, he's bringing it over. I'll be good to finish this field off.
Yeah, I studied IT flying, so I know a bit about what you were talking about. But it's so hard to get jobs because they want experienced guys, which is so annoying. Because how are you supposed to get the experience if no one wants to give you a chance?
Yep, that's the classic catch-22.
You spend all this money doing an IT course, and you can't even get a job. It's like so annoying.
You just need to keep working at it and keep putting those apps out. Somebody will eventually pick you up. The competition at the entry-level positions is pretty fierce.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't really started looking for an IT job, is just because I know I won't get a shot.
But there's always openings at the entry level because either the people get they get burned out or they move up.
Yeah.
So that's what you got going for us now. Now where I work, it's at a college, so we hire a lot of students, and the benefit, the way we see it, the way I see it is, you can have all the degrees you want, you can have all the certificates you want, but there's a lot to be said about in the field knowledge and experience. So usually the kids that work for us, when they graduate, they've got, in theory, a couple years of experience, of practical, actual experience.
Yeah.
Underneath of them, and we've hired a fair number of them straight out of graduation to come work for us the next day as full time. Then they move on and go somewhere else and make fortunes.
But that's the advantages of having a technology school, is they can get the experience from you guys, from the IT department, where in New Zealand there's not that many directly IT schools as such. Cal, don't be so mean to Spectre.
What's that?
He's saying, well, Rob, I only need it because someone expects to drive a combine again, and as long as Duck doesn't show up, I'll only need one.
Talking about a drink, I think.
Yeah, he went and got some rum.
No, I'm trying to fight a headphone.
Yeah, now you're on a different mic now.
No, I don't have my headphones on. The problem I'm having is my charging cord keeps falling out of the socket. The battery's really critical, so now the headphones are sitting on the desk. I'm talking through that microphone. It's sitting on the desk, so I don't keep pulling the cord out.
Okay. Yeah, I got wired stuff. I don't have a wireless headset.
Kept on an open cord, the wired cord, so I tried to get a wireless one. Having much of a problem with this.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's my computer set.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, where I game, I don't have wheels, so there's nothing to run over. Worst thing I have is the headset cord almost is guaranteed to be wrapped up in a knot with the keyboard cord within a matter of a week, and then I got to unhook both of them and unknot them.
So my headset was making tones all the time. I couldn't figure out what, and it must have been the fact that the cable was in the thing.
Oh, so it was like kept beeping for charge and discharge, or plugged up and unplugged.
Right, so now it won't even stay in. So I'm hoping that I can get this cable on the headset. This headset, I can't do anything. This cable, I can plug some cable.
Yeah, because it's probably like a standard mini USB or something.
That's exactly what
That was one of the best things cell companies did, was they went to a standard other than Apple. So that pretty much any charging, I'm near full. Any charging cable will pretty much work on any standard electronics device. I'll be back. This thing's full.
But I don't think it's the mail on it. The battery's connected. That's the mail inside the app.
Oh my, cows go moo. You've been drinking it, huh? If stories you could tell, I guess, huh?
Hey, why don't you bring the truck down here? It'll be a lot quicker.
Would be, but now the truck's full.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't get much out of this thing before it filled up. So I'm bringing you back a overloader that's almost full.
What kind of ice cream? Calvin's got alcohol, you've got red velvet ice cream. What do you have for ice teasing?
Not much. Now there is a there's a local ice cream shop that occasionally has German chocolate cake ice cream.
I love rum and raisin ice cream.
What?
Rum and raisin ice cream.
It's disgusting.
Hi Ryan.
That sounds awful.
Rum and raisin ice cream. It doesn't usually taste too bad.
It's too bad? You're making recommendations and you say it doesn't taste too bad?
I'll see if I can tell you what's in.
Sounds like with rum and raisin.
Rum raisin is good, but I'm partial to praline pecan.
So my wife is famous because she had the German chocolate cake ice cream there, and right after she tasted it, she looks at me and says, "It tastes just like German. It tastes just like German chocolate cake." I was like, "Yeah, that's why they named it that." She said, "No, shut up. I'm surprised it tastes like this because it's so, you know, the consistency is so different. Like, it tastes the way it's named." Yeah, it's right down the hill.
Based on what we were talking about the other day, you look like you live in one of those towns where your wife would drag you out there to go antiquing all day, and the guy can't stand it. That's the case,
No, she's not into buying old stuff.
on your Discord.
That may be, but I'm saying the town you live in is that type of town that your wife drags you to. A lot of little antique shops and boutiques.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
That's rum and raisin ice cream, Klein.
Alright, let me go look.
So, listen to you try it, Clyde.
Oh, I'm not going to try that. Oh, we're almost full up on corn. Well, this isn't going to take all that. Hey, Gunslinger, how you doing? Hey, Urix. Which is the one that's the champagne of beers? Oh, I'm doing good. We're just harvesting the heck out of this map right now. We got about 23 more fields to go. Oh, let's see here. I guess we'll put corn in these bins here. I think they're empty. Check. Yep, they're empty. Oh my, you are either up early or you've been up late. Alright, I'm on my way back. I wasn't able to empty completely. Build up the silos. I'll empty all that, and then I'll go sell it at the at that distillery, whatever it is. Yeah, might as well since we got the corn headers on it. Is that the only field of corn we got?
We got 36 and 3, one on the far south and one on the far north.
Do we have any sunflowers? We get all them.
1, 2, and 3 up north. I'm sorry, 1 and 2 up north, and then 3 is the corn.
Yeah, but 1 and 2 is harvested. All right, so we only have corn in 3 and 36. Well, I guess we'll hit 36, and then we'll hit 3, and then we'll sell these corn headers. And keeping them around, that's the only thing they're good for. Bad those 3 wasn't ready when we were up there. How are you on fuel?
676 liters. Money.
Alright, I need to fill this other harvester up too. So I probably could get that field done. The duck's in the house. So we're supposed to come... I came in here the wrong way yesterday. We're supposed to come in here. Supposed to keep to the right. Keep to the right. Stuck on something. Go. Now we're supposed to pull up to this little doohickey. And then... we're supposed to lower our little probe. And then we're supposed to raise our little probe. He's supposed to check for moisture. And then we're going to get cleared to sell our product. Want to go through door number 1, sell. Door number 2 produces that distiller's corn, which we could use as a silage substitute. No, it doesn't tell you the moisture. It's just all pretend. There we are. Oh, let's not have lag while we try to drive on a little narrow road. And then we come through here, and then we weigh on the way out. Get our empty weight. That said 80, I think that said 80 something last time. I see you up there. I think I'll catch up to you. Do these have... put a sign here? Didn't. Go. I even cut the engine off before I jumped out. Can't have the engine running. Now, what I got is a bungee cord that I wrapped around the steering wheel, and I got a little hook right under the seat. Helps keep the wheel straight. Alright, see you later, Duck. Oh, Urex is asking about FS19 features. I think a moving sun across the sky would be pretty awesome. Same with the moon at night. You know, we've got the light moves. You crank up the clock and you can see the shadows move across. But the light source, you know, you're never really, you know, like, that's the sun. That's where the sun is all the time on this map. So I think having a moving sun and moon would be cool. Not sure what they're going to do with horses, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. If there's something weird like chickens where they just exist and you don't really need to do much with them, or if they are actually a fourth animal type that you can use, or if maybe they're ditching one of the other three animals. Who knows? That sounds all exciting. You know, I'm looking forward to hearing more come out of Giants as far as, you know, official FS19 information. Got lots of rumors just spouting about right now. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. You know, I don't think too many. Well, I doubt too many people really do know what the deal is with horses. If they will be, how they're going to be used or implemented. You know, from my standpoint, horses are good for one of two things. As you alluded to, they're either good for racing or for just breeding. When I was growing up, we supplied hay to all kinds of horse people, and horses were just a big. You know, they said they would say horses were an investment, and that language is used basically because horses, all they did was sap money out of your pocketbook. They didn't really give you any real benefit. Here, thanks for the sub. I don't know. I can't pronounce that. Yeah, that guy, I can't pronounce it. Sorry.
That sub was Le Rastaman.
Oh, Rastaman. I'm getting this row behind you. Well, like, I never played 15, but from what I understand, with 15, chickens were a bit more involved than they are in 17. Now, there is a mod that's waiting to be released in the mod hub, waiting to go through approval and everything that kind of expands chickens and makes them useful. But the in-game chickens now, they're pretty much, they just exist. You know, they're kind of a complete waste, if you ask me. Well, you're probably going to like the mod that's in there waiting to be approved, because it's going to, you could have yourself a chicken farm with that. That's the rum and raisin. I tell you, I can't stand picking up eggs when they're in the grass. I can never find them. If you could if you can put your chat comments in English, that'd be awesome, because I don't know if there's anybody in chat that can read French. If that's, I assume that's French. I know I can't. But the only thing I understood was the thumbs up. Oh yeah, I doubt that mod will come over on PS4. You want to do, what do you want to do? Oh, do you have auto turn on? Okay, well, auto turn, you can't go minus basically the field edge. So if you've already at you're already at like 1, then auto turn won't do anything for you any better. You can go negative, like negative 10, you would turn 10 meters before the field edge, but you can't make it turn like 5 meters past the edge of the field, which is what you would need. You're gonna fill up because I only got this a little bit. Let me get ahead of you so then we can come in and oh, we hit that time. I'm not too keen on raisin. Raisin ice cream doesn't sound the greatest to me. Oh, that sounds awful. Oh, there's a guy at work that's from Brazil, and apparently they have they have corn ice cream down there. He says it's the bomb. I'm thinking that's kind of nasty.
I don't know the
Cookie dough ice cream. Hey Rob, you've been around for quite a while. You've been helpful, so thought I'll give you your own wrench. You want me to skip a lane? All right, I'll skip 2. That's what you want?
you're always on the inside.
We'll have to see where well, you're at 44% already, so when we get to the end, we're gonna have to unload you. Then I'll unload, then we'll be the same. Yeah, we can see it. No, I think it's pretty much, I think it's anything that's got lots of horizontal lines real close to each other, and you know, like even if you see a someone that's got a shirt that's got really tight horizontal lines through like a camera, the horizontal lines look a little funky. Yeah. So Cows Go Move mentioned DoughBoy, and I guess I should mention that we got word from Rubber Burner yesterday, or I guess this morning or this afternoon we got word that yesterday DoughBoy went to the hospital. Apparently he went to the emergency room with some abdominal pains and other issues. So we want to wish him the best and hope things are good. We haven't heard any updates. We're not really sure what the latest news is, but just want to make that mention out there. And now the question, there's a question related to season length. So this is my take on it. My take is that the longer the season, the easier it is to play. Now, obviously, the more time investment there is, but it's easier to play. All right, Spectre's going to go get that. I got to hunt down a... Get this one. Just bring this one over. So, the reason is, with 3-day seasons, now if you don't do animals, then a lot of what I have to say isn't a doesn't really hold. But if you do animals, 3-day seasons, you have to feed your animals. Well, with seasons, let's go back a little bit. So with seasons, the amount you need to feed your animals over the course of a season, or over the course of the entire game year, is the exact same if you play 3-day seasons or if you play 24-day seasons or 15. So when you play and you feed your animals every 3 days, okay? So if you think about it, if you play 3-day seasons, on the first day of spring, if you have animals, you have to feed your animals the entire quantity that they would eat over the entire spring season at once. And then in 3 days, you have to feed them the entire quantity that they would eat over summer. What's that? Oh, I forgot. And then I need to go get an auger, so now I'm bringing an auger now. You can move me or you can start using that one if you want. So in summer, you got to feed them all of it up front at the start of summer. Same with autumn and the same with winter. Well, if you play 6-day seasons, okay, the amount you need to feed your animals is the same as if you play 3 over the whole year. But since you have 2 3-day feeding periods per seasonal transition, then you can feed, well, not per transition, but per season. Then you're only feeding half as much as you would under 3 days every feeding. Okay, so if you take that to 9-day seasons, now you're feeding 1/3 of what you were needing to feed every 3 days under 3-day seasons. And if you have a lot of animals, it can basically become impossible to feed them the amount that they need over a short season length. So, to the other extreme, 24-day seasons, you feed 8 times over spring, 8 times over summer, and so forth. So the amount that you need to feed every time you feed is 1/8 of what they're going to need for the entire season. Versus 3 days where you have to feed them the entire amount. So it becomes a whole lot easier to feed your animals the longer the season length goes. And it's obviously a lot easier to produce the food over a longer season length because you've got more time to actually do the work you need to get done. So for me, longer seasons are easier than shorter seasons. So if you're going to get ready to start playing seasons, I think the worst thing you could do is pick 3 days because you think it's short and it'll be easy. I think that's going to give you a lot more challenges than, let's say, 9-day seasons, which is the default. That's just my take on it. Now, I also have an interesting take on clock speed that some people buy into. Other people think I'm crazy or don't buy into it, and it's fine. You play the game how you want, and it works for me. It doesn't work for other people, but I tend to, like when I did 24 days on Churn Farms, I tried to play at 15 times speed all the time. So that meant a game day went by in about an hour and a half. Or a 24-hour period went by in about 90 game minutes. Or 90 real-life minutes. And for me, you know, that added a little bit of stress to the situation, because I knew that I had, you know, I had only a limited amount of time to get things done. It also meant that there wasn't a lot of fast forwarding of the clock. Because about the time I would get things done, you know, I was getting about one field done every game day as far as field work goes. So it would take me about a day to plow, about a day to cultivate, and about a day to seed and everything. Now, when I moved to Midtown and I played 15-day seasons, I originally started at 15 times speed, and then I realized that based on the amount of fields that I owned, that 15 was a little fast, so I changed it down to 10. I made a custom speed of 10, and that seems to work real good for me on Midtown. Now on Ratlin, which is the map I'm going to do next, I'm going to do 9-day seasons, and on 9-day seasons I'm going to do 5 times speed. Yeah, on Skeleton I'm doing 3-day seasons just to kind of grind through the map quicker. And I only bought 5 cows because I knew that I was going to have I knew it was going to be quite a endeavor to try to keep them fed. And there wasn't a whole lot of grass on that map. So, you know, that was kind of a play toward the map to keep the animals low. And that spreadsheet will work for console players too. Alright, brought you that man, 30 times, that day goes by real fast, huh? I'd say at 30 times, you probably can't drive across the map in one game day. You start in the morning, and by the time you get the other end of the field, the other end of the map, it's probably late afternoon. Yeah, that's, you know, the Realist guys did that kind of as a balance, so that playing a long season length wasn't a hindrance. And it's also the same with like vehicle maintenance. So if you play 3-day seasons, you're paying a ton of money every night in operating costs. If you own the exact same equipment and you play on 9-day seasons, your operating costs will be lower per game day. But over the course of the year, your operating costs are the same. So like on this map, we got a ton of equipment. Ton of stuff. And our vehicle running costs are $2,400 a day. The heck are we leasing? Oh, we should sell that truck and get it, turn that lease and buy it back. Yeah, if you're the shorter the season, the more you pay per game day on your vehicles. And again, that's kind of for balance of gameplay, because obviously if you do something crazy like 24 days and you have 96 game days between, you know, your plowing, well, you'd probably have about 70 game days before you would have any actual revenue from harvest. Then you really need to be watching those your operating costs. No, I don't think they get table manners. I think that's a script. So they get to they have to clean their critters up every day. Yeah, there's a money cheat for consoles. Oh my gosh, that would definitely take up a lot of days to seed and harvest potatoes or beets. switch back. Oh, what do you think they're missing? They are working to add several things. Hey Joel, how you doing? This field is just long enough that we can only go down or up. Then we're full.
That's why I took
Yeah, we know that they're going to be introducing something related to soil temperature or soil moisture. Because, you know, with the handheld, we can go over here and we can that's what I want. You know, we can check and we can see we have 11% crop moisture and 30% ground moisture. So there's been talk that they would be introducing something like you know, when you can harvest when your crop is at a specific moisture level, or that, you know, if you harvest your crop and it's too moist, then you get less money for that crop, or it has less yield. That's it, lower yield. You go ahead and get started and I'll empty you. Well, the one thing about the game developers versus mods is the game developers, you know, they're focusing on the entire game. Did you hit F5 at all during the session? That's it. If you hit F5, it kind of messes up the little lines. If you hit F5 once or twice, you'll see your lines, but you'll see a bunch of other stuff too. So the thing about game developers, you know, they're focusing on the entire game, and modders, they can really only just they only need to focus on one thing. That is their idea. So obviously they can put more time in on one specific idea, whereas the developers themselves are looking at everything. Oh, I can't set that up. We'll have to just do it the hard way.
Yeah, well, I'm sure down there. Oh,
261,000 liters, yeah. 472 cows. Poo a lot. Alright, check you later there, country girl. Thanks for coming by. Oh, there's more maps out there than I have time to play, Joel. Oh, there's so many maps I want to get on, but I can't because I just don't have the time. After Midtown, we're going to move to Rathlin. That's the map over at FSUK. That's an island map. It's in Northern Ireland. It's an island off of Northern Ireland. So I'm really excited to get over to that one. I've got I've got some interesting play ideas that I haven't done on that one. Bullet Bill's got a American map that he's working on. That should be out, or is supposed to be out around May or June. So that's exciting. So looking forward to that. I know CCS 101, who's the guy that did Churn Farms in Midtown, has a couple maps that he's working on and hopes to get out long before, well, not so long before, but yeah, before 19 comes out. I really like his work. We've got all kinds of wonderful maps that have been submitted to the FSUK map contest. The map contest closes the end of this month. So that is just next week that the submission deadline ends for those. So we'll probably start seeing them come out in late March as they move from testing and things. So I'm definitely not just coasting to 19. There's so much I want to do, so much I still want to get to. I want to get through this map so that we can do our multiplayer thing over on Clover Creek that we've been thinking about and talking about for months. I think it was pointed out that maybe we've maybe been working on this map for like 6 months, maybe 5 or 6 months. So this has been quite an endeavor. It does, doesn't it, Cows? No, Cows Go Mood took kind of a, he went back to Goldcrest to kind of recenter himself, refocus, I guess. I look at lots of maps, and there's lots of maps that I look at that I don't really have much interest in playing. And then occasionally the map comes by that I look at and it's like, I have to play this map. For me, it's a very special map that comes by that you get that kind of reaction to. And not everybody will have the same reaction to the same map. There's folks that are really, really in love with the West Coast, to the point that they feel that that's by far the best map that's come out for FS17 to date. And then there's others that are like, West Coast is nice, but I wouldn't want that to be my only option. The same can be said for Oakfield. There's some that feel Oakfield is the best map ever. Others, that it's okay. And that's perfectly fine. There's no one map that fits everybody's taste. Goldcrest Valley for me was fine for about 200 hours, and then it was blah. I had to get off of that and onto mod maps. If my only choice was Goldcrest Valley, I probably would have quit a long time ago. Yeah, now I know Oakfield is coming to consoles. It's just the approval process is so painful. I mean, Skeleton is coming to consoles, hopefully, but it's so discouraging to map makers to sometimes to go through the approval process, because the approval process seems to constantly be changing. The rules seem to be a work in progress, where they just change from day to day. Something that gets approved last month isn't going to get approved this month all of a sudden, because it's got some things that need fixed to it. Oh, thanks, Joel. Thanks for the compliment. No, I don't think Eric's isn't being rude. He's just disappointed. That's what I get out of it. He's just disappointed. definitely console folks have limited options. There we go. Yeah, I was gonna bring the truck over here. Oh, great demand for rye. I'll be able to empty that overloader, and then I gotta empty. Alright, we got that one empty. Oh, I didn't even see you were overloading. I didn't even see you were there. Oop, 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 oop. I was so concentrating on emptying your harvester. When it got empty, I was going to swing around and pick you up. What maps have you played, Eustace, recently, other than Goldcrest Valley? Full now. I mean, that's what keeps me interested is the maps. You know, I put about 190 hours on Churn before I closed that one out. That video will air on the 17th of March. Close out of that one. I'm up to 150 or so hours on Midtown, and I got about 15 game days left on that map before it's done. So, not that I'm really tired of either map, but you know, it's like, it's knowing when to move on before you get burned out is key. And not playing a map that you don't really feel. You know, just because lots of people are playing it. If I don't feel the map, then I don't play it, because I probably won't be on it for long. Yeah, the Valley of the Old Farm is on console. I watch Mr. Sealy P. He does. He's got a season series on that I like to watch. I like to watch consoles players because it gives me a different perspective on gameplay. If, for example, he uses that Homer mod a lot. He had the Homer mod in some modded Homer module that took liquid fertilizer, and then he hooked up the Kuhn fertilizer sprayer on the back, and he had the a fertilizer sprayer that had like a capacity of 20-some thousand liters. I was like, look at that. I would have never thought about doing that. But console players, you know, you all are somewhat restricted in what you can do, what kind of mods you've got access to. So that means that that you come up with some rather unique ways of getting things done that sometimes us PC players haven't had well, we haven't thought of because we haven't had the need to come up with that. I guess there's no way to, I guess on console there's no way to force snow. That's the one surefire way to know, would be to force snow to show up. Then you'd see if you get snow in the buildings. You're going to leave the overloader on that end, and I'll put the truck on this end of the field? Is that what you're getting at?
Yep, overloader's already sitting down there.
Alright, I got the truck on this end then.
Sure we may use it for one more minute. Sooner or later we'll figure it out, right?
Alright, I've got the next available pass. I haven't seen his Spectacle Island videos recently. I've only been watching his season stuff. I started watching him when he was doing the seasons stuff because it was interesting to hear him and see him basically learn the mod and everything. It reminded me of when I was watching Grizzly Bear Sims do his seasons previews from January of 2017 up until when seasons came out, and you know, a lot of the things that he was thinking through his head and vocalizing were things that I got to kind of learn by watching Grizzly Bear Sims and other folks play with seasons. But I'm sure lots of the console folks, you know, they didn't really pay attention to seasons probably, because the idea that seasons would come to consoles in FS17 was, it's not something a lot of people really thought would happen. It had snow on the ground, but I don't know. But I can't say if it is or isn't. I know the PC version is seasons prepared. But oh nope, didn't make it. Nope. The only surefire way though would be to have snow and see if there's snow inside the building. Or you could take a bale. You could sacrifice a bale of hay or straw and leave it outside and have it get rained on. So, what's that?
Said scratches in 2019, huh?
Scratch and dent sale on the headers. So if you took a bale of hay or straw that you were willing to sacrifice, and you put it outside and you let it get rained on, it should lose some capacity during the rainstorm. It won't lose a whole lot of capacity, but it will lose some if the map has got the snow mask. If the map doesn't have the snow mask, then the bale will still be 4,000 liters after the rain. That's probably the easiest way of doing it, since you can't really wait on snow, because you may go through years without having snow. Now, grass will disappear no matter what. Grass will disappear even if you've got no snow mask. Yep, grass will rot immediately after it's baled. That's why if you want to maintain 4,000 liter silage bales, you need to wrap them real quick. I think we'll have time to finish this field off and then drive this stuff up to field 3, and then we'll call it for the night. So, hold on a minute. So guys, we've had a pretty nice set of folks in chat, and I usually don't do this, but for fun, for funsies' sakes, here's a link to my Discord. Like I said, I usually don't put it out there, but what the hey, I'm gonna put it out there for you guys. If you want, join up, chat with us, have fun. I was just I hit push to talk by accident, but I was telling people in chat that I usually don't do this, but I went and threw the Discord link in chat for those that are in chat. If they want to come in, join the Discord channel, they can. We're down to 14. I think I had 24 or so at the peak. Cows Go Moo forgot you were there. Because you're obviously quiet. And then he says, I forgot you when I went and pulled away. So he's like, oh, I don't feel bad. Klein forgot about him too.
I'm working here.
I know. Where is yeah. Yeah, the telltale is if hay or straw, not grass, hay or straw, deteriorates in rain. Grass will deteriorate no matter what, but if you take a hay or straw bale, have it outside and have it get rained on, is it still 4,000 liters after the rain, or is it lower in volume? If it's lower in volume, then it does have the snow mask. If it's not lower in volume, if it's still 4,000 liters, then it doesn't. That's the only way I would say is a guaranteed way to test and know for sure if the Valley of the Old Farm indeed does or doesn't have the snow mask. Obviously, if you do manage to get snow and you have snow in all the buildings, then it doesn't. But just know that it's possible that when the guys put the snow mask in, they may have missed a building or two. So that's always possible. It's not a guaranteed thing that when the snow mask goes in, it goes in and covers all the buildings. The map author has to actually paint the mask in, and it's possible you could obviously miss a building or two. Hey Jennifer, how you doing? Most mods are free. The exception is DLCs from Giants. And then there's one DLC that's a commercial DLC from Aerosoft. You could think of that as a mod, if you will. The Aerosoft DLC is obviously costs some money, but pretty much anything else out there is going to be free. In fact, it's against the Giants' terms of service to charge for a mod. So if you use the Giants editor to create your mod and you charge for it, then you are violating the Giants' terms of service. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think we'd all agree with you there, Jennifer. Alright, well that'll close out the field. I have any bush hogs? No. No bush hog mowers. Wrong one. Go.
What's your opinion of vehicle switcher mod?
Never used it. One of those mods where I never really had a feel of a need for it. I mean, I do have lots of vehicles, but the idea of putting them in categories just, I don't know, never comes to mind as to why or how that would be useful versus just tabbing through or going to the escape menu and picking them.
Okay.
I think people that use it probably will tell you that it's a mod that they'll never be without. So maybe it's one of those things where you know, you don't realize how useful it is until you use it. Maybe. It's like, I guess other people like with drive control are like that. Once you start using drive control, they claim that you'll never want to not use it anymore. And I mean, you might want to try it now that you have pedals. Because, you know, you can set it up where gas is gas and brake is brake. And then you have to shift forward and back. And when you shift in reverse, gas is still gas. But for me, I mean, I've played this way for well over 2,500 game hours. So the fact that I hold the brake pedal and I back up doesn't do anything in my head. But people that play with drive control, they're like, how can you not use drive control if you're using pedals? Because, you know, how can you drive and push the brake and go backwards? That's just not right. Well, it's just what I'm used to. Yeah, I set up the 2 harvesters on Follow Me. They're the slowest thing, so it's best that they be the leader of the pack. The bush hog is typically pulled behind the mower also. Alright, you got all 3 set up? Kloss thinks he's blocked. Check him out.
Yeah, he might hit that side.
Yep. Alright, the other reason, yeah. See, this guy was set up with a weird offset back when we were plowing or something. He was set to be 15 meters to the right. So I had to fix that, so he's good now. Alright, I'm going to leapfrog ahead of you, because I need to come back here and get the fuel tank. I can fuel up those things. Is it Torp? We'll go with that. You'll have to tell me if that's wrong. Whoa, we kind of missed that. Kind of missed a turn there. Well, back when I drove tractors, back like 30 years ago, all of our tractors had a hand throttle. It was basically cruise control. You just move the throttle to where you want to be, and there you go. You still got to steer, but you're not. There wasn't any type of accelerator or anything. You just kind of moved the hand throttle to a position. You know what? Back in the day, we only had one tractor that had a cab on it. All the other tractors were open air, if you will. I think the biggest tractor we had was a New Holland, or was a International Harvester 986. Then we had a International Harvester 806. We had a guess what? We were an International Harvester farm. We had an IH 486. That's the one with the little narrow dolly wheels. We had a Super H. And that was pretty much the fleet of tractors. We had a front loader. I don't know what brand that was. We had New Holland baler, little round square bales. Surprise! This truck has a trick to it. Let's see if we can catch Spectre twice. There he is. I see him. I see you again. The truck is a Rockhound special, not a Rubber Burner special. Bob? Alright, well, I think that just about does it. Thanks for coming out, Spectre, and helping me out. One more cornfield and we're done the corn. See here, then we get, what's next? Well, we could,
A couple of fields down south, and I think we go across the river.
yeah, we got a couple of those little fields. We got 2 fields across the river to get done. And then whole bunch of fields around 13 through 19. A couple fields to the south. You have 4 fields. I think once we get done 3, we'll pick up the grain headers and maybe hit these 50 fields. 50 through 54. Then while we're over there, we might as well hit those 2 across the river. And then make our way back and just kill this map and be done.
Yay, we still got stuff to sell. Whoa.
Got lots of stuff to sell.
We could do some of that off stream, though, can't we?
What?
We could do some of that off stream, though, can't we?
Oh, yeah, I guess we could. Don't need to stream every minute of it. Alright guys, so thanks for coming out and watching. We'll be back here on Midtown probably next Wednesday, doing more harvesting. That's what we're going to be doing for the next little bit. When it rains, we've got 2 days, 3 days of sun. On day 15 and 16 it's going to rain, so we'll be selling crop on those days. So like I said, thanks for coming out and watching. And until next time, happy farming.